I woke up at like 10 a.m. and I had cornflakes with milk.
This is TheSalukie. I found his channel because I got recommended his video about Halloween in Newcastle 2020. I only clicked because I was actually riding around the chaos with my mate Egon on the night.
Chaos and commotion in Newcastle tonight, literally.
And I wanted to see if I could spot us in the background. And I ended up thinking his video was pretty good. So I dropped him a DM on Instagram. We became friends, made a few videos together and had a nice time. Okay, Salukie, what's your channel about?
The main focus is travel videos and getting locals' perspectives. Traveling, I'd say, has come naturally to me because I've always been a bit of a vagabond. I left my parents' home when I was 15 and I was just moving between being homeless to different boarding schools to working on jobs. And that is kind of what I do now, except in a way more pleasant way. I go to different countries and I work odd jobs. I don't know, I just like things being so fickle and sporadic. I don't know where I'm gonna be in half a year, for instance. I hope I'll be making videos full time, but I don't know what it's gonna be. Hold on, I'm just a bit embarrassed for a second.
Yeah.
Snap out of it, yeah. I like sucking dick. Everybody. Oh, that could be good for your documentary.
Yeah, include that bit.
So what I do like about making my videos is just the art of making something out of nothing. It's sort of like Sacha Baron Cohen, which is one of my idols, how he made a village in Romania into Kazakhstan.
It's nice.
And made a film out of it, because I just find that fascinating, and it's also something that I strive to do. YouTube is also something that I want to do because I want to inspire people to travel and I want people to be less close-minded, which is why I do go to these Muslim countries and the countries that are considered to be dangerous, and just to show that like people are people no matter where in the world. People are not their government. The way that I was brought up in Israel, I was indoctrinated in a way to have a lingering fear of Muslims and the outside world in general. When I did start traveling, I'm not gonna lie, initially when I saw somebody with a scarf or a hijab, then I was intimidated, because that's just the way we were taught. It really did open my mind, and I think that I could translate that vicariously for other people through my YouTube videos. Hey guys, we're making a documentary.
Alright.
Could I have a go with you guys just for the laughs? So this is why I do like my videos a lot, just like interact with random people. That's good, yeah. Thanks, nice meeting you, bro.
W0FFY, Waffy.
Waffy.
Waffy's
Nice.
fighting fitness.
Cheers.
Go breathe.
Cheers.
See you later.
See you later. No, I thought it would be just funny to include a bit of random local interactions, because that's a lot of what the channel here is about. Isn't that right, lasses?
So the first mission that we went on together is to go explore an underground tunnel through Newcastle, which didn't go too well.
Can't even feel the floor.
So instead, we filmed a video about Biker, known for being one of the roughest places in Newcastle.
That was sick.
This was when I first got a sense of one of Salukie's missions, to break social stigmas and stereotypes through his videos. I was actually well out of my comfort zone, but I did have a great time filming this video with him. Then we finished the day at an abandoned train station that I knew of. After that, we hung out a few times, then went to film this documentary that you're watching now, where I got to know him a bit more and where he came from.
I had quite a violent childhood growing up in Israel, mostly teenage years. If it's seeing my city being bombed, literally. Every house in Israel has a room, it's mandatory to have a room, which is like for when you get bombed, basically. When I hear explosions, then I kind of like reminisce to that, and I don't know, a loud bang can be a bit scary. You know, that's just what it's like to live on the Lebanese border, which is the city I'm from. It's called Nahariya. In my teenage years, I got into lots of fights. I spent one day in a new boarding school, and this kid picked on me, and back then I wouldn't tolerate stuff like that, so I got in a fight with him and I got stabbed in my arm. I've got problems with my nerves because it hasn't been the same since. It was when I was just like in between, living on the streets and foster families. I had a temporary foster family I never like was proper adopted by a family, but basically I was adopted by a boarding school. All the kids would go home once every fortnight for a weekend to the families, and I would just stay basically there. I was in that first boarding school. I got into a fight, I got stabbed, I didn't want to go there obviously. I went to the next boarding school, it was a religious one. I was kicked out of that as well. And once you get expelled out of a school, you don't, in the middle of a year, you don't go to like a normal boarding school for good kids. So I ended up in a boarding school for like, you know, young criminals and people that are a bit deranged, that have been in a mental institution and stuff, and just like drug dealers. So when I got to that boarding school, then I would just stay there when everybody would go home. And I would honestly just wait for my teenage years to be over to be free, because it felt like I felt like I was in prison. We had to go to bed at certain hours, like for instance 9:30 p.m. you had to go to bed, and then there was like a night guard making sure that you were actually in bed and not like roaming around. And basically you couldn't even roam around the streets freely, you just had to be within the premises. I was so sick of the boarding school that I decided I don't care, I'm just leaving. I'm gonna move in with a mate. So that's what I did. I was there for like 2 months, and you know, being in high school, and things in Israel are like pretty expensive, pretty exorbitant prices just for food and stuff. So I lost like 10 kilograms of weight during that month and a half. It was quite strenuous, the studying, because I was like completing 10th grade while I was at it. So I just had to focus on that, and I didn't really even have food. I guess that's why I do like to go to rougher places as well, if it's neighborhoods or like countries where people are struggling, because I do know what it's like not to have food on your plate, not to have a bed to sleep in, like having to sleep outside, because for me it was being kicked out by my parents, but you know, never having shit. I kind of want to be a brother to the struggle, where if it's like me filming the LGBT community in Iraq and getting the message out, or if I'm making videos in slums in some country, then I just feel like using my platform to spread the word about stuff like that does make an impact. YouTube isn't completely selfless, obviously. I do want it to be my job because I like doing YouTube. But also I do think that it's a platform to do good things like what I just mentioned, or if it's stuff like bridging the gap between Jews and Muslims, where I go to Muslim countries sometimes. I just think if I can bring some positivity into the world as well through my YouTube. And I'm just looking forward to making more stuff, honestly. Every day is an adventure.
TheSalukie's final day in the UK, we went on a long walk along the coast on a chilly winter night, had a few beers and climbed on top of this cannon thing. The next day, Salukie went on his travels to Romania to continue and make more videos. This definitely will not be our last adventure together.
I'm too old for this shit. Is that high enough? Yeah. Or should I go? Oh, fuck. If you want to support the channel, there's a link to my Patreon in the description. Only if you can, then give us a quid, mate. Thanks for watching, and I love you.
I love you too.
I love you. Ah, fuck. There it is.
What is going on?
Don't leave that in, man.
What?
Leave that in.